players calling for it about him. The direct route to goal, however, touched in, and it's Gallatin getting the fingers to it. Coffey's free quickly into John O'Driscoll, unmarked. Oh, it's a goal! A goal by John O'Driscoll. Tom Spillane and Kerry standing in their way. Ambrose O'Donovan to Pat Spillane. Back to O'Donovan. Oh, great goal! That is a brilliant goal by Ambrose O'Donovan. McCarthy here. Inside towards Colin O'Neill, his first chance to impress. If he can lay it in for Dennis Allen. Oh, it's a great goal! Well into injury time in the Munster final. Back to Mikey Sheehy. Mikey the captain, looking for the Kerry goal that will seal it. Is it there? Yes, it is! I don't believe it! Oh, absolutely unbelievable! Billy Morgan, his side has given it everything. Is it Mike Sheehy? It was a whole cluster of players. It's 2-7 for Kerry. 13 points, 1-9 for Cork, 12 points. And Larry Tompkins, the man who's scored 7 points so far, has this free. 2 minutes into injury time from the 20-metre line. Breeze behind him. The most vital kick I think he's ever taken. In his first Munster Championship match, the Kildare man can level it up. He's done just that. So are we to have yet another draw in the Munster final?
If there had been a Sunday game in 1943, you can be sure it would have featured the Munster Championship meeting of Cork and Kerry. 1943 was the last time the sides met in a Munster semi-final, Cork winning in a replay. That year, Europe was shrouded in the darkness of the Second World War, a period remembered in Ireland as the Emergency. Still, there were some happy memories for the people of Antrim, their hurlers reaching a rare All-Ireland final. Those were also good days for Roscommon, kingpins in football in the early 40s. Joe Louis was the heavyweight champion of the world in 1943, and Straight Deal was the winner of the Epsom Derby. Now here was a straight deal: a new car for £250 and a gent suit for a £5. And that Cork Kerry replay at the Athletic Grounds producing gate receipts of £670, this afternoon's take in Killarney in excess of £200,000. Yes, there have been many changes since 1948. One of them surely is, for one thing, a cost of a suit now would nearly have paid everybody into the ground in 1943. And one thing that has remained constant over the years, these mighty duels between Cork and Kerry in Munster football. Almost all of those have been for provincial honours. But this afternoon was one of the exceptions. The open draw producing a semi-final meeting of the sides for a change. Something else has changed in recent times: Kerry's dominance of these clashes, the advantage with Cork for the past 4 years. Could Cork make it 5 in a row, or might this be Kerry's comeback year? Well, the commentator on the big match this afternoon was Ger Canning, and joining him, Colm O'Rourke.
There can hardly be a more picturesque venue in which to come and enjoy a football match, with the towering, if somewhat misty, mountain peaks offering a splendid backdrop. On a day which sees the return of Cork's Larry Tompkins after a 9-month layoff, during which time he battled against a career-threatening knee injury. His marker today is former All-Star Connie Murphy, one of the few to star for Kerry in their first-round win over Clare. Cork look to have by far the stronger squad. Indeed, they're only 2 short of last year's All-Ireland final 15. Stephen O'Brien and Teddy McCarthy are missing, although McCarthy is the sub, and they're replaced today by Tony Davis and John O'Driscoll. Among a number of Kerry changes, newcomer John Cronin comes into the full forward line alongside Pat Spillane, while Timmy Fleming operates on the 40 in place of Willie Marr. And the Kerry midfield appears strengthened by the return of Ambrose O'Donovan, who, like team captain Jack O'Shea, is a link with the last Kerry team to win the All-Ireland that was 5 years ago. And this afternoon it's Barry Coffey who'll be hoping to limit the wing forward's influence over the 70 minutes. Larry Tompkins, the man who's come back, and curiously he's playing without any kind of strapping around the knee, having picked up a particularly bad knee injury in last year's All-Ireland final when he contested a 50-50 ball with Martin O'Connell. And at the end of it all, Tompkins needed surgery and spent the entire winter working hard on his own in a gymnasium, building up the muscles once again on that injured right knee. And the end result, steadfast determination on his part to be here in Killarney for the semi-final, and he really does look fit. Paddy Russell, the 35-year-old County Tipperary official, handles this much-awaited clash, and it's Cork who've won the toss, and they play with the aid of the breeze in the first half. That will be into the goal on our left, the town end here in Killarney. A great crowd of about 30,000 people present here. The rain just begins to seep down at the moment. We had a lot of sunshine as well. And so it's Larry Tompkins straight away into the action against Connie Murphy. Who else but Larry Tompkins would come back from a serious knee injury and not even wear leg strapping. John O'Driscoll punting it forward. Sean Burke trying to fist that one out. Over towards Timmy Fleming's wing, because Timmy has moved around in a much switched about Kerry formation. And Colin, here we see Pat Spillane operating on the 40.
Pat Spillane is a centre half forward, Jack O'Shea left half forward, Maurice Fitzgerald full forward. The whole Kerry forward line is completely changed.
And that's Maurice Fitzgerald escaping the shackles, but the referee whistled up the play and he's ordering a free in for Kerry, and it'll be Maurice Fitzgerald himself who will come and hit it.
It's a good start for Maurice Fitzgerald. Kerry will need him to play very well today, and he's going, if he attacks Niall Cahalan like that, then he'll get a lot of frees. But Kerry really need a big performance from him today. It won't just be enough for him to kick over frees.
So Maurice Fitzgerald then playing in his 8th championship match gives Kerry the lead. Playing into the wind. They'll be hoping to stay level with Cork all the way through this first half. So the half-forward line now reads John Cronin, Pat Spillane and Jack O'Shea, the team captain. Brilliantly fetched in the air. Nola Mahoney. Punted through, cut out however here by Barry Coffey, supported by Tony Davis. Danny Cullity, the Cork team captain. Dropping one well down. The Kerry backs grouped very well back there. And that was Stephen Stack who made the catch. Played forward by Morgan Nix. Pat Spillane involved in the equation as well. A good, confident start. Sean Burke, who, like just about everybody else, has switched positions. And Kerry making the impressive start. Booted in that time by Pa Dennehy. John Kearns comfortably under it. Coonahan. And fouled late by Jack O'Shea, which has been recorded by the referee. And it's going to be a free from where the ball has landed, which is about 65 metres out from the Kerry goal.
Well, Jacko comes in late here. Jacko is fairly hyped up for this game as captain of Kerry. I think he thinks that he has to give example, but I'm sure he won't do something like that again.
Dropped in towards Larry. Fetched well by Sean Burke. Played well here when the sides met in the league last November. Tony Nation has come way up the field, and the man who is taken to ground there is Dave Barry. And Colm O'Neill ready to take the free. Colm, who scored 11 points in last year's Munster final when he was called in late. This is the foul once again.
Kerry had an opportunity to clear this ball, and I think they were a bit unhappy that it should have been a free out earlier, but it was a definite free in then.
So Colm O'Neill will curl it left-footed in. And he's missed it. First wide of the match for Cork. Referee just wanting everybody outside the 20-metre line. Charlie Nelligan's kick. Wins, holds it up somewhat. Neatly taken down by Morgan Nix. Transfer to Nola Mahoney. Connie Murphy now waiting to deliver the return ball. Ambrose O'Donovan. Driven up towards Pa Dennehy. Tony Davis, the player, is across there trying to limit his space and effectiveness. Nicely kicked in, off the top of the crossbar and his foot over the bar. That was a lovely point, and Ambrose O'Donovan, the one who scores it, a former Kerry All-Ireland winning captain.
Kerry are after putting about 10 passes together to get that ball right up into the corner, using space very well, and Ambrose won't kick more points as good as that one.
Beautifully judged. So Kerry, the rank outsiders in this contest, remember 5-2 to win it, whereas Cork were 7-2 on. That's Jack O'Shea giving the example. Early stages, however, just 5 minutes gone, but they've got the early advantage. Coonahan. Driven down into open space. Michael McCarthy there, appeared to be pushed. Paul McGrath trying to chip it up. Player who was born in Kerry. Comes back off Dave Barry. Cullity. Oh, they've missed another one. And they really haven't come to trust this breeze so far. Cullity wants to take the free himself. Nola Mahoney picked up the number 8 jersey, but in fact was programmed at number 9. Fahy the kicker, driven deep, and he's put it over the bar to record Cork's first point after 7 minutes. So 2 points to 1 the position. Morgan Nix waiting. John O'Driscoll hit it forward. Paul McGrath contesting over there with Stephen Stack. McGrath with the shoulder. And that's John Cronin. And meanwhile, Pat Spillane has been injured. Or kept in play in what is a very tough opening to this match as Pat Spillane limps away from that. And feeling the effects of that last challenge. Again, the referee is going down, and he's having a word with Danny Cullity now. The notebooks come out. Cullity is marking Nola Mahoney.
I think that booking is for a late tackle on Pat Spillane.
Beautiful fetch in the centre of the field by Nola Mahoney. Outside here to Pat Spillane. Morgan Nix moving on to it. Knocked forward towards Pa Dennehy. Taking it confidently, back into Timmy Fleming. Employed as a midfielder the last day against Clare. Just managed to keep the momentum of that ball going forward. Good shoulder coming in there on Ambrose O'Donovan as he had made a good advanced run. It was Tony Nation who tidied up as the rain spills down here once again at Fitzgerald Stadium. Danny Cullity, right-footed, plenty of space in front of the Kerry goal. And that's brilliantly defended and taken in some style by Stephen Stack. Jack O'Shea making himself available. Maurice Fitzgerald, Kerry doing as they want at this stage. Really imposing their will on the game. Timmy Fleming up. Nicely turned inside here by Pa Dennehy. Trying to get away from Tony Davis. Kerry free running so far. Now can they finish in style? Not quite. The angle a tiny bit more acute than that which confronted Ambrose O'Donovan a few minutes ago. Touchdown there by Nola Mahoney. Jack O'Shea tried to close down the space. It's booted clear by Nick Slocum. Followed up again. Maurice Fitzgerald lets it drop down. Cahalane hasn't had a look in so far. And that's Tony Nation, who was fouled late by Maurice Fitzgerald. Hence the Cork free. Slocum taking it up. Towards Larry Tompkins. Trying to get a bit of latitude, and he's kicked it delightfully. Larry Tompkins has just kicked what is his 30th point in 6 championship matches against Cork, against Kerry. That's the first this afternoon.
Any doubts about Tompkins' injury were firmly dispelled there. I think that's a brilliant point from about 45 yards.
And a resident of West Cork, Michael O'Hare, an interested spectator across over there. Sean Burke. The question marks about the Kerry backs going into this game. So far they've coped pretty well with most of the pressure that's come upon them. But in truth, Cork's midfield and half-forward line opted to go for scores from some distance out, and they've recorded 6 wide so far against 2 for Kerry. The measured build-up again by Kerry, and Ambrose O'Donovan taking up good positions, firing this one in but not with any great accuracy. Tony Davis reading it. Stephen Stack, who's followed Paul McGrath, Well, the suit stacked quite nicely to have to follow Paul McGrath back into his own half of the field. Pa Dennehy pisting it forward to Pat Spillane, trying to engineer a lead score for Kerry. Timmy Fleming kicking, and he's put it wide after an impressive build-up. Fleming just couldn't deliver the telling final shot with any degree of accuracy.
Again, a very good Kerry build-up. They're playing a lot of the ball through Pat Spillane, and Timmy Fleming had to kick quickly, who's been closed in from both sides, but just only about a foot wide.
Something which I think is interesting so far, with over 22 minutes gone, Colm, the coaching and the hard work of Mickey Sullivan, who's been much maligned down around this part of the country. Certainly is paying off so far. He's certainly thought out his options.
Yes, well, Kerry are playing a short ball game, and they're playing it excellently at this stage. Now, whether they'll be able to adapt and change after the break when they have the wind will be interesting.
Coffey driving it down, brilliantly taken in full flight by Morgan Nix. Here to this swing, where Pat Spillane shows that at 34 years of age he's still got the legs to go and chase what occasionally turn out to be hopeless cases where the passes are concerned. That's John Cronin making his Kerry debut this afternoon. Challenged over there, Pa Dennehy takes it down and receives the break of the ball, and he's put Kerry back in front again. Well, an interesting clash, because it was Pa Dennehy who responded well, showed good kicking skills, and it kicks Kerry into the lead once more. One of the lightest players on the Kerry team hits one of the strongest players on the Cork team, and Pa Dennehy picks up the pieces and sticks it over the bar. It's a great point from a Kerry point of view. Dave Barry has switched wings with John O'Driscoll. I can tell you a switch in the Cork team. Dave now operating here on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Larry Tompkins challenged by John Cronin. And Jack O'Shea protesting in there. The referee hasn't spoken to anybody. Jack really seems to be wound up for this tie, as Tompkins has kicked it. And has kicked it very well wide. Cheers of derision from the Kerry supporters. Larry Tompkins this afternoon. Silence for the fans behind Charlie Nelligan's goal. And just as we speak there, John O'Driscoll has now been switched into full forward, with Colm O'Neill moving across to top of the right. The jersey was pulled that time, it seemed, by Dave Barry on Nola Mahoney. Referee allowed an advantage. Pat Spillane, Connie Murphy. Kerry trying to utilise the open space as much as possible. Again, persisting with the short pass from time to time. Punted forward on this occasion by Nola Mahoney. And Tony Nation, it seemed, required a little bit more time to dwell on that ball. Shea Fahy coming thundering out, pursued by Pa Dennehy. Stopped by Pa Dennehy, but fouled as he was doing so. Taken from behind. Slocum's kick inside towards John O'Driscoll, taken by Sean Burke. Timmy Fleming now. Selling a little bit short. Davis. Long-fisted pass down. McCarthy here, trying to round Liam Flaherty. And Flaherty judged to have been using the arm unfairly on McCarthy. And so a scoring chance here for Cork, a free from about 15 metres out. The danger for Kerry, of course, with the short passing game out of defence, as happened there, is that a pass goes wrong and Cork have an attack straight away. But Kerry, from a tactical point of view, are far superior at the moment. As Michael McCarthy takes over the free-kicking duties from Colm O'Neill, and it is 3 points each. Well, they always say there's nothing like a Kerry man down. You really manage to get the best out of him, and that's what's happening for the Kingdom this afternoon. They really are playing their hearts out. Beaten in Munster for the last 4 Munster finals, unheard of where Kingdom football's concerned. Sean Burke got it forward to Jack O'Shea, taking up many good positions, holding off Niall Cahalane that time with some ease. Cahalane powerless to get that ball. Jack O'Shea challenged by Paul McGrath. Cork being forced back. Kerry coming forward, and the sliding tackle coming raining in that time from Tony Nation on Pa Dennehy results in a Kerry free. And Maurice Fitzgerald going across to take it. Maurice, who's a brother-in-law of Colm O'Neill on the Cork team. 1 point from a free so far. That's the first point of the match. It's a tricky angle, just a little bit too tricky. So it remains Cork 3 points, Kerry 3 points, and we have 3 minutes to go to half-time. John Kearns, his 8th time facing Kerry in the championship this afternoon. chance. Fisted over his head by Danny Cullity, and the break of the ball favours Cork and Larry Tompkins. A typical solo run forward. Can he give Cork the lead before half-time? Connie Murphy went back into his task superbly. Fairly dispossessed the Cork man, but the ball has spilled loose outside to Colm O'Neill. Paul McGrath waiting for the ball to come to him. Still O'Neill. Kerry grouping inside, and in the end it was a no-no pass. It has been picked up by Morgan Nix. Cleared well out of danger. Jack O'Shea and Niall Cahalane having great fun as that ball came back to Barry Coffey. Played forward to Shea Fahy. Outside to Mick Slocum. Kerry playing as if their very lives depended upon it, going in with good challenges. That ball coming in there towards John O'Driscoll, breaking down here. And the challenge coming in quite fairly, it seems, on Colm O'Neill. Out it comes to Stephen Stack. Tripped. Free to Kerry. Very quickly taken to Pat Spillane. Playing nowhere near his selected position of full forward. Now he's 65 metres out from his own goal. Chipped forward, Conor Coonan trying to get it. It's Jack O'Shea turning it inside. Pa Dennehy, Maurice Fitzgerald calling for it. Instead it goes up towards the man on the corner, and that is John Cronin. And Cronin of Waterville has kicked the ball over the bar. The lad who is straight out of minor, a defender in that grade, under 21 level. He played in this year's under 21 final. What a great point to give Kerry the lead.
Well, it's a great point again, and a fantastic boost just before half-time. Again, Pat Spillane had a big part to play in it, and the ball eventually coming up into the corner there to John Cronin, and he put it over very smartly indeed.
So what a day for John Cronin, his very first time to play with the Kerry seniors. It's in the championship and it's against Cork, the reigning All-Ireland champions, who are in real trouble. They'll be playing against the wind for the second half. John O'Driscoll now, his side, going into arrears. And he's put them back on level terms inside a minute of that point by John Cronin. John O'Driscoll of Ballingeary has kicked the sides level, and we're inside the last minute of the first half.
Something like that John O'Driscoll has always promised to do for Cork, but up until now he has even failed to hold down a permanent position on the team for many years, and that's why he was the most exciting player in Australia in '86.
Yes, at that time I seem to remember he was the talk of the country, really, a very exciting player. He played here in that year's Munster final. Kevin Heffernan, I remember being impressed by his sidestep and catching ability, drafted him into that Australian team. But as you say, with the combination of injury and loss of form, he really has failed to deliver so far. Davis outside to Slocum, bursting forward again, pursued by Timmy Fleming. On this greasy surface, Fleming gleefully takes that ball and plays it inside to Connie Murphy. Pat Spillane running to his right-hand side. Davis getting in the shoulder, not very convincingly. Back to Pat Spillane, steadying himself. He's now 50-45 metres out. Kerry holding onto that ball. That's a lovely ball played inside, intended for the man who moved in there, who was Ambrose O'Donovan. Took up a very good role. Cork take the free out quickly, and the referee has whistled up in the noise here at Fitzgerald Stadium. There's nothing between them at half-time. Kerry dictated matters for so long. Those early switches certainly bamboozled Cork. The Kerry fans much the happier. They'll have the win for the second half, and the half-time score reads: Cork, All-Ireland champions, 4 points. Kerry, the challengers, 4 points. They're level, 35 minutes to go. Kerry much more economical in the shooting, as we will have gathered. Cork with 9 wides, Kerry with 4. There were 17 frees in all awarded, 10 of them to Cork, 7 to Kerry. And as regards scoring from frees, well, Cork scored twice from place balls, Kerry once through Maurice Fitzgerald.
Well, the wind has died down appreciably, and even though Kerry have things very much going in their favour, they're working the ball very well, but against the wind I think Cork will be just as good at that.
Cork made a switch. Paddy Hayes has come in at left half forward. Colm O'Neill has gone off. John O'Driscoll, as we saw at the end of that first half, now operating at full forward. So there's Paddy Hayes, who also came back from a serious injury on an afternoon when Cork and Kerry people, normally the most friendly of people, well, they're great rivals, at least for 70 minutes. As Jack O'Shea restrains Shea Fahy. And Fahy preparing to have Barry Coffey kick it from the ground. Up it goes towards John O'Driscoll, fetched mightily in the air with Kieran Culhane fielding as well, and it's the Kerry man who wins the duel. Superb fielding. Outside here to Sean Burke. The sun beginning to make its reappearance in Killarney once more as Shea Fahy goes down, makes that his. A really tight competitive fixture, as it has so often been in the past between Cork and Kerry. John O'Driscoll winning it outside to Paddy Hayes, his first taste of the action. Knocked it in there, and it's Liam Flaherty who responds quickly. A clearance out of defence. Maurice Fitzgerald tussling there, but he was using his elbow to gain an advantage on Niall Cahalane. A Cork free kick. So 4 points each at the start of the second half.
Kerry persisting with just leaving 2 men up front with the wind.
The initiative now being taken by Cork. Hayes in towards John O'Driscoll. Oh, this is the platform on which he may well shine, and he's given Cork the lead again. A rousing kick by John O'Driscoll, his second point of the match, and that in the early stages of this second spell. Trying to encourage his colleagues now to get more into the action.
The Paddy Hayes substitution is certainly winning. He's after winning the first couple of balls in and giving a good pass there to John O'Driscoll, who is performing very well since he moved into full forward.
Seemed to me there that Kieran Culhane just gave him a yard or two as that one came in. All travelling well down to the Cork 65-metre line, mopped up by Shea Fahy, in towards Michael McCarthy, held by Liam Flaherty. Free to Cork. Well, Colm O'Neill was an option in taking the frees, and it's going to be interesting to see who's going to take over now. Dave Barry is standing right next to referee Paddy Russell, the 35-year-old official from County Tipperary. Paddy, who refereed the 1989 Munster football final as well between these two teams. This, of course, a semi-final. The other semi-final will be between Limerick and Waterford in Dungarvan next Sunday afternoon. A place in the Munster final at stake in 5 weeks' time. Dave Barry, the kicker, and Dave, the scorer. Cork open up the widest gap they've had so far in the match. Dave Barry with his first point from the free. Experienced player, of course. Dave Barry playing in his 11th match against Kerry in the championship. Was there a push over there? Yes, the referee saw it by Shea Fahy on the Kerry midfielder. That's Ambrose O'Donovan. Ambrose taking it himself. Dropped in delightfully. Judged over there by Paul Dennehy, who was pushed off the ball by Tony Nation, and Kerry win themselves the free right on the 13-metre line, and it should be a straightforward kicking opportunity this for Maurice Fitzgerald. 6 points to 4 the position. Cork the leaders.
Paul Dennehy has been causing a lot of problems for Cork. Even though he's small and quite light, he still is putting himself about, and he doesn't mind getting involved in the game.
There's just a point between them as Maurice Fitzgerald has pointed his second free. One at the start of the second half, now one just 4 minutes into the second 35-minute spell. The wind again holds it up. It reaches 45 metres, maybe a metre or so more. Taken by Shea Fahy down to Barry Coffey. McCarthy against Flaherty. Flaherty judges it well. Support again. Kerry having that extra player over, it seems, in the middle, and that's Ambrose O'Donovan. Dropping it in towards Paul Dennehy. Cut it brilliantly against Tony Nation, and he's won Kerry the free in. That's great fielding by Dennehy. And Nation certainly realising that this fellow can cause problems, and has caused quite a few so far. Maurice Fitzgerald scored 10 points in the 88 Munster final, 7 of those from frees, 2 so far. Now make that 3, and they're all from frees, and they're all invaluable because the sides are level once more. Level at half-time, 4 points each. Cork then going into those 2 points lead early in the second half, and that's now been pegged back. And Teddy McCarthy coming into the Cork team, the dual All-Star winner from last year. And Cork appreciating that changes are required, and Michael McCarthy is the one who's been taken off by Billy Morgan and his fellow selectors. It just wasn't the West Cork man's day. So Cork then making the early changes of the second half. Further indications of a little bit of panic. Tompkins, Slocum. Well, Cork were said to have by far the stronger squad and richer variety of talent. We'll see. Yes, Milan. Finding Jack O'Shea. Again, the two experienced men knowing where to go, taking up good positions. Dennehy held the ball well from time to time, beaten this time by Shea Fahy. Now Tompkins once again. He didn't really show any ill effects of his long layoff in that first half. Back to Fahy, teaming up here with Tony Davis as Cork now play it short. 65 minutes out from their own goal. That's Pat Spillane. The Cork fans urging their team to drive it forward. They do so to Paul McGrath against Stephen Stack. Remember, it's 6 points for Cork, 6 points for Kerry. 11 minutes gone in the second half as McGrath kicks it, and Cork are back in the hunt once more. McGrath's first contribution in the scoring stakes this afternoon. 7 points to 6.
There's a great point for Cork to get because they're under a bit of pressure at the moment. Kerry fighting with fanatical determination, and Paul McGrath slips his man very well. But the ball up to Paul McGrath, a very good ball from Tony Davis as well, even though I think he probably got away with a clean pick off the ground.
Burke. Down towards Jack O'Shea and Niall Cahalane. Cahalane touching it away. The referee saying there was holding. Slocum protesting that the holding was by Jack O'Shea. The referee not concurring. The referee indicting Niall Cahalane. So from the 45-metre line, or just a little bit inside, Maurice Fitzgerald, having had a switch with Jack O'Shea in the last couple of minutes, coming to take this free kick. So 7 points to 6. Will he go for a point from this distance? Well within his range. Will he opt to cut it in front of John Kearns, where Jack O'Shea is waiting? We haven't had a goal in the match so far. We won't have one on this occasion either. He's missed it. Kerry's second wide of the second half, which is now just coming up to 14 minutes old. Maurice Fitzgerald left half forward, Pat Spillane centre half forward, and away on the far side they've got John Cronin there still contesting over there. This is won by Morgan Nix. Dropped in towards Pa Dennehy there with Tony Nation, broken down to Jack O'Shea, and he's kicked it and he's put it over the bar, and it's 7 points apiece. Just for a moment there was a glimmer of hope for Kerry that there might well have been the first goal on offer, and it fell to Jack O'Shea.
That was the most clear-cut goal chance we've had in the match so far. Again, it's Pa Dennehy that's causing all sorts of problems inside. When Jacko gets it, I'd say he was going for a goal all right, but lofted it too high.
Well, you have to admire the way Jack O'Shea has brought this Kerry team along, with the coaching of Mickey Sullivan profiting this team over the last couple of weeks. And you have to wonder what's happened to the champions. 7 points each. They never wanted to go into this match as such raging hot favourites. It was a terrible position for them, but they certainly haven't played like champions. Being dictated to right now by Pa Dennehy against Tony Nation. And Dennehy has been the master in that situation all day. Played across towards Cronin. Oh, it's a goal! It's a goal! And the youngster John Cronin has scored it. A quarter of an hour gone in the second half. That's a goal to add to the point that he scored in the first half. Straight out of the minors. Brilliantly played across by Pa Dennehy. Cronin on hand, solidly struck, dispatched into the back of John Kearns' net. Kerry firmly in front.
A brilliant goal for Kerry, and that really sets them up. It'll test Cork now whether they're going to be able to come back from that. Again, Pa Dennehy causing all the problems. I'm surprised that Cork haven't made a substitution there. But again, he gets around Tony Nation, he comes in along the end line, and I think he was going for a point and went across to John Cronin. But he stuck it away very well.
Niall Cahalane, his side then trailing by 1-7 to 7 points. That's played forward to John O'Driscoll. Or Kerry to foil Cork of winning 5 in a row here in Munster. Paul McGrath inside. Danny Galladay. Can they respond instantly? They've got themselves a point. Just for a moment there, I think Danny might have been thinking about a goal chance. He has to be content with a point. Both midfielders now for Cork have scored points.
Again, a goal chance, one at either end in the space of a couple of minutes. When Danny Cullity gets this ball, he gets away from his man, and he has a second, but he hops the ball instead of shooting first time, and he had to opt for a point then.
Back now in midfield, contesting with Noel O'Mahony. Taken splendidly by Cullity once more. Two between them, remember. It's a thrilling match. Maurice Fitzgerald. Kick down towards Jack O'Shea. Fielded well against Niall Cahalane. Inside towards Timmy Fleming. Trying to enhance a good spell for Kerry. And he's put the ball over the bar. His first point this afternoon. And now all bar Pat Spillane have scored in the Kerry forward line.
Cork still haven't got the grips with all the Kerry switches in the forward line. Timmy Fleming being left free. A very good pass from Jack O'Shea, setting up for a point. And Kerry really have much the better of things at the moment, and it'll take something special from Cork to get back into this game.
There's a goal between them. Cork look absolutely shell-shocked. Davis. There's still plenty of time for the champions if they're good enough. Kerry have worked so hard, you have to wonder whether their fitness level will be able to be maintained right the way through to the end of the 70 minutes. Slocum will take the free, just outside the 45-metre line. In towards Larry Tompkins. Held inside, however, by Paddy Hayes. Back out to Tompkins. There's a response from Larry Tompkins. A second point. They both come from play. And so now 2 points is the margin again.
Great point from Tompkins, very well fielded by Paddy Hayes, who is using his height to good effect in there. And Tompkins' point is very badly needed and keeps Cork in touch.
Mickey Sullivan once again in to have a word with Timmy Fleming as he tries to make the switches that will continue to cause Cork the problems. Frank Cogan and Billy Morgan, Billy on this far side, Frank on the near side here, continue to call out the instructions to their charges. It should be a thrilling finale. Can Kerry maintain their lead and win back the Munster title? Of course, they have another game to go. That would be against either Limerick or Waterford, but this is the big one. Slocum kicking, and he's put it over the bar. The champions are beginning to fight back and show a bit more self-belief. If anything, that goal by John Cronin has stung them into action.
Michael Slocum moving up the field now because their forwards are not getting the scores, and kicks a great point with his left foot. Cork are beginning, though, to show that why they're All-Ireland champions, because they're fighting very hard to get back into this game.
Fleming is held by Conor Coonahan. Kerry have themselves the free. Maurice Fitzgerald taking maximum care with this one. This from Cork's 65-metre line. This side ahead by a point. In towards Jack O'Shea and Pat Spillane. It's gathered, however, back there by Teddy McCarthy. Towards Conor Coonahan, taken off that ball and swept aside by the persistence of Connie Murphy. Into Timmy Fleming. And a probing ball. John Curran's doing well. Cronin was moving in there to provide a challenge on Tony Nation. Goalkeeper very sensibly opting to punch that one away. Cahalane fouled by Cronin.
Just shows the level of effort that Kerry are putting in, that John Cronin, who was in under that dropping ball in the square, was back out committing the foul 60 yards out within a few seconds.
So the position, in case you've joined us late, with Shea Fahy picking himself off the ground. We've got 11 minutes to go. It's Kerry the leaders, 1-8, the rank outsiders in the betting. Cork 10 points, 1 point the difference. Kerry, who've been giving way second best to Cork in the championship over the last 4 years, doing magnificently well this afternoon. Can they maintain the effort? Coffey towards Danny Cullity, nicely taken forward by Cullity. The shot looks to be well directed. The equaliser by the team captain from Newmarket, the American-born Danny Cullity.
That ball has come up from Barry Coffey, who's now playing right corner back on Pa Dennehy, and it's worked up to Danny Cullity, who takes an awful lot of steps before he kicks the ball, but it's a great equaliser for Cork.
Well, we had a draw and a replay in Leinster. What odds something similar happening in Munster? Fahy. It spills loose over there to Sean Burke, left-footed. Down towards Jack O'Shea, now at full forward against Niall Cahalane. Trying to break it inside, and it was Barry Coffey who goes back, but the referee's whistle has sounded for the holding action by Cahalane on Jack O'Shea. And Paddy Russell not listening to the protests from the wily Cork full-back. So a free. And Kerry, it seems, are making a change. And they're bringing in Mert Moriarty. And John Cronin is the one who's making his way off. As Maurice Fitzgerald kicks it, and he's kicked Kerry back in front again. It raises another white flag, and Mickey Sullivan then bringing off the youngster. Coonahan took one to the face, pointed out the culprit, and the referee goes across to have a word with Ambrose O'Donovan. No booking. Kerry bidding to reach the Munster final for what would be the 83rd time in all. 5.5 minutes to go. Kerry 1-9, that's 12 points. Cork 11 points. John O'Driscoll wins the free against Morgan Nix. Spoken to quietly there, but firmly by referee Paddy Russell. Shea Fahy taking care with his free kick. Wind blowing into his face, remember. In towards Larry Tompkins. John O'Driscoll rising up as well. It comes back down, and it's firmly fielded by Maurice Fitzgerald. Back there helping his defence against Danny Cullity. He was pushed, the referee declares. So it's going to be a free from a more favourable position, which is round about 45 metres out from the Kerry end line. Jack O'Shea once again continuing to move all over the field. He's the free taker, very much the team leader. When West Kerry failed to have a representative in the Kerry team, they nominated Jacko to be the captain. The last time he was captain of Kerry against Cork was 1983. It took a late Cork goal by Tyke Murphy to win it that day for Cork and deny Kerry what would have been a 9th successive Munster win. Beautiful skill by Pat Spillane, inside to Connie Murphy. Ambrose O'Donovan in the equation as well, taking the return, kicking it, but he's ballooned it outside.
That's the second bad miss by Ambrose, and it would have been an insurance point for Kerry at this stage, who are very much on top.
Mickey Sullivan then preparing to make another change. And it seems that it's going to be David Farrell who's going to come in, the Anniscole man, and Timmy Fleming is the one who's made way. Coonahan. Slocum here. Played forward to Davis. Just a point between the teams. Time running out for Cork. Kerry the leaders. Larry Tompkins, who's rescued Cork so often in the past. Can he do so again? Not right now. We're under 3 minutes to go.
A very difficult chance for Tompkins anyway, because the ball was always going to take the wind was always going to take the ball wider. So it was a very difficult one to be going for at this stage of the game.
Kerry are the leaders by just a point. Living on their nerves perhaps, but they certainly don't deserve to lose this. By the same token, do the champions deserve to win it? It's not over yet. Hayes belted down. John O'Driscoll trying to contain it. There against Kieran Culhane. Culhane has battled his heart out throughout the afternoon. I'm sure, Colin Rourke, you'll have been pleased with many of the Kerry performances in particular as you try to pick out your man of the match.
Well, I think that some of the Kerry players who needed a big performance today, like Maurice Fitzgerald, have come good. And also the old hands like Pat Spillane and Jack O'Shea have done their part as well.
An edgy moment for a Cork fan. Barry Coffey, the free taker, and Jack O'Shea has taken up a splendid position, but he's dropped it to Paul McGrath. The Tralee-born Paul McGrath. Can he yet bring Cork back level in this tie? Not against Maurice Fitzgerald, but the ball has trickled off Fitzgerald out over the end line, and it's gone for a 45. A minute and a half on my watch remaining. Tense, nervous moments for Cork fans who've seen their team enjoy dominance in Munster since 1987. 1986 was the last year that Kerry beat Cork in a Munster Championship match. They've all been in finals, of course. 51 Cork-Kerry Munster finals out of a total of 101. This is a semi-final. Dave Barry drilling it in. Larry rising up for it. He's got it. Kerry must be careful not to foul. It's brilliantly brought down by Liam Flaherty, and it's gone for another 45. It's a tremendous finish. Cork and Kerry down the years have provided some splendid entertainment. There have been one or two games as well along the way where the margin at the end was very wide, but this has been a good one. We're inside the last minute. Remember, it's Kerry 1-9, 12 points. Nail-biting stop with Cork, 11 points. And Dave Barry, with the referee going into the small parallelogram just to try and sort one or two matters out. In the tension of the and heat of the moment. In it goes. They rise up for it. It spills loose, and it's Morgan Nix who's taken it. The number 7. Outside to Pat Spillane. The great-hearted Pat lifts the siege. 15 seconds to go. A point the difference. Pa Dennehy, one of the heroes for Kerry. Well, they've learned their lesson well. They won the battle here in the league last December by 12 points to 10. It's just one between them now. In a county where they talk about religion and football in the same breath. Are they finally to break Cork's dominance in the south? We're in injury time. There won't be too much of that. Maurice Fitzgerald taking his time about taking this free kick from the 45-metre line.
Maurice Fitzgerald just needs to kick this out of play, whether it goes wide or over the bar. The game should be over because there was very little injury time. So it's important from Kerry's point of view that he at least gets it out of play.
We still, I think, have to credit Mickey Sullivan, who marshalled his team splendidly. The old heads of Jack O'Shea and Pat Spillane did their job to a T, and now Maurice Fitzgerald has kicked them through to what surely is a Munster final performance. They'll be dancing in the streets of Killarney tonight, but it's the Kerry fans who are the happiest as Maurice Fitzgerald kicks over point number 4 in as good a battle between Cork and Kerry as I've seen. It's all over. The All-Ireland champions are out. Pat Spillane celebrates. Jack O'Shea has done his job magnificently. Danny Cullity, the Cork captain. And they shake hands. It's been a splendid contest. Magnificent match. Cork go home disappointed. Kerry did their task well. They planned for this victory, and in the end they won by 2 points. It's Kerry 110, Cork 11 points. The champions are out. Kerry are through to the Munster final.
Not this evening. I'll tell you that. I suppose, I mean, if we had been beaten today, I would have been given serious consideration to retiring. I mean, I think it's time to probably move along, give the young fellas a chance, but the script I had prepared, I'm afraid I've torn it up this evening anyway.
Well, you were a real star out there today, yet you've had to live all these young players by comparison with the stars of the 70s and early 80s. It hasn't been easy, I'm sure.
Well, we're a young team at the moment, and really these last 2 years they haven't been easy with the media and that. To the thing, we came out here today to show what we can do when we get our minds right, and all that really to boil down to one person, Mickey Sullivan, and I've been stuck with him with the 21s now as well the last year, and the dedication that man has put in, it's been second to none really, and I'm delighted for him today.
17 men, every one of them, the 2 subs that went on and all the lads that were on, played exceptionally, gave it everything, and they fought for breaks, they were courageous, and that wasn't to take from Cork's performance. Cork had been there for 5 or 6 years, and it was only natural that the appetite, it wasn't the football ability, it was just a matter, the difference today was appetite. We were hungrier, we were under the pressure, our backs were to the wall, and we just had to produce the goods.
Cork were never allowed to dictate.
No, Cork's game over the last number of years was to build from the back. I would say today that Mick Slocum was probably the only one that was kind of trying to play his normal game. The rest of the Cork backs were under a lot of pressure to contain our fellas that were running all over the place. And we did a lot of switching here and there. We kept our minds occupied with that. And I thought tactically we played a very good match today.
Really great, really heartening performance from Kerry. And I mean, admittedly we've only just won a Munster semi-final, but after 5 years of abuse and criticism which we've put up with, and it's been, I mean, no matter how thick-skinned people are, it's been very hurtful. So at least this evening we can laugh and smile and enjoy ourselves, and we have something to celebrate, and I think we deserve that, you know.
Well, I was in Cork and Kerry during the week doing a preview of today's match for Sports World, and I just got that feeling that the greater hunger for victory was in the Kerry men. They're back, as somehow you always felt they might be. Well, the statistics from this game will make better reading to Kerry people, I suspect, than it will for their neighbours in the south. 71.5 minutes of overall playing time produced 35.5 minutes of actual playing time, which is about average. Kerry conceded the larger number of frees, 23 to Cork's 19, and of those, Kerry converted 4 against Cork's 3. Cork kicked the greater number of wides, 12 as opposed to Kerry's 9. But the statistics bear witness, I think, to the fact that there really was very little between them. Well, for Colm O'Rourke, there's been no letting up in the championship drama, from Meath's epic games against Dublin into the cauldron of excitement that was Fitzgerald Stadium this afternoon. Well, this was how he saw the match, talking afterwards to Ger Canning.
Well, I think it was a wonderful game. It was fought out with great passion by both sides. It was great atmosphere, great crowd involvement, and the standard of play was very high a lot of the time, and the intensity of the efforts by players was marvellous, and I think it was a great occasion.
It was quite a tactical battle between Billy Morgan and Mickey Sullivan.
Well, I suppose Mickey Sullivan had the edge there because he knew so much about Cork, and Cork were sitting ducks for something like this, but Mickey O'Sullivan definitely won the tactical battle hands down. His employment of 2 inside forwards caused Cork defence all sorts of problems right from start to finish, and in particular Pat Dennehy and Tony Nation, I think, was one of the areas where the whole battle revolved, and I was surprised that Billy Morgan didn't take action there quicker, because Pat Dennehy had an edge right through the game.
All right, let's go to the man of the match, Telecom Éireann man of the match for this week. It's your choice.
Well, in this instance, I think it was easy enough, even though we had a few great performances by some of the older Kerry hands. Jacko and Pat Spillane, who played a great game lying deep and taking a lot of short passes out of defence. I think in the end it was easy because Pat Dennehy had a splendid match for Kerry.
Congratulations to Pa, well done. Dropping it in towards Pa Dennehy, cut it brilliantly against Tony Nation, and he's won Kerry the free in. Being dictated to right now by Pa Dennehy against Tony Nation, and Dennehy has been the master in that situation all day. Played across towards Cronin. Oh, it's a goal! It's a goal!
Well done to Pa and to his Kerry colleagues today. Later in the programme, we'll be talking to the former GAA president, John Dowling, about the new National League format